How did you first get into music?
I don't know. I guess I've always been into music. My both of my parents are really into music, or I guess were really into music. My dad is roughly 2 years gone now. But my mom loves music. Um, she's got a she grew up during like the 70s and 60s and shit. So she's really into like Janis Joplin and that kind of stuff. Not really my thing, but she's shown me, I mean like I love Tom Petty. I got that from my mom, the Kinks, weird shit like that. And then she got into like a bunch of weird music in the when I was in high school, she got into like Canadian indie rock in like the late 2000s. And she took me to all of these shows all over Illinois, where I grew up in Illinois, and up to Canada and shit like that. And we used to travel around to seeing music. My dad was always into music. What's up?
Sorry. There is one Canadian indie band that I do like from that era called Tea Party.
I've never listened to Tea Party.
Yeah, they were more on the goth side of the indie. They,
Okay,
they, I don't know
fair.
quite how to describe them. Their 1997 album was phenomenal, but all their other stuff is kind of iffy. But
Fair
I mean,
enough.
it's Canadian, alt rock. So what do you do?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I
There's a
pulled you
lot of
away. I pulled you
there's
away.
a
You,
lot of cool shit coming out of Canada. I'm always in love with the cool stuff coming out of Canada. And then my dad was just into music too. He was Puerto Rican. I'm half Puerto Rican. And I literally would like my mom and dad got divorced when I was super young, and my dad would just like I'd go over to his house on the weekends. He'd wake up on Saturday, and he always in his car and in his house always had a good sound system. All he cared about was like good audio quality and like a lowered suspension on his fucking car. He was ridiculous, man. But I would wake up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and this motherfucker would be dancing around in his underwear, listening to salsa at like I said, like 8 o'clock in the fucking morning, just like jamming the fuck out, cooking us breakfast and shit. So there's like he never taught me Spanish. I listen to so much salsa, like and like all of this Spanish like influenced music and shit. I have no idea what the fuck they're saying all the time, but like
it's
yeah,
awesome.
I got a weird love for like salsa and reggaeton and all of that kind of shit. Like yeah. So
You gotta
both
love them
parents,
Latin beats.
yeah, yeah. And so like it really kind of just, I was in elementary school in a really, really backwoodsy ass part of upstate New York, about an hour outside the city. Some people don't say that's upstate enough. And I joined the band. I learned how to play percussion. And I was really into percussion, and I was like, I want to play drums. So my mom knew a guy from the church that she went to, that we all went to back then, and she got me an electric drum set, a Roland D something something or whatever. It was a fucking ridiculous little electric drum set, and I couldn't fucking figure it out to save my life. I couldn't I couldn't separate my hands and my feet. Um, and I tried for years. I sold the drum set like 10 years later. Not maybe like 8 years later. And eventually I gave up and I asked for a guitar. And then it all kind of fucking fell into place. I got the guitar when I was like 13, and that's basically it. That's history. Um, and then about 2 years ago, I finally found a video on YouTube that explained drumming to me in a way that I was able to separate my hands and my feet. So now I can play the drums badly, but I'm practicing and I'm getting there.
Man, if you
Uh,
would have still had that Roland, you could just connect it all in and then syncopate it afterwards and
yep.
fix it all.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, who would
Um, so yeah, so that was so that's the whole story, I guess.
that's a wonderful story. I dug it. I dug it. Okay. St. Charles.
Yeah, that's where I spent most of my. So I don't know. I was like 11 or 12. I lived in upstate New York. I was born in Pennsylvania. I lived on the East Coast until I was about 12. And my mom was going to school. I grew up mostly living with my grandmother and my mom. And I'd visit my dad on the weekends and stuff like that. But I did the majority of my growing up with my mom in upstate New York and my grandmother who would watch me while my mom went to school. Eventually she graduated and got a job in Illinois and her sister already lived out there, my aunt Pat. And neither of them could afford a place on their own. They were both recently divorced or, divorced enough and were just trying to fucking make their way and they get along well enough that they decided to move in together. So I fucking got transplanted to Illinois. I went from living in the backwoods, fucking nowhere mountains in upstate New York, the Catskills, to fucking Illinois, 50 minutes outside of Chicago suburb. And it was I mean, all my friends that I met there are still some of my best friends in the whole world. Um, and when I graduated, my mom gave me an ultimatum. She found out I was smoking weed. She was like, you can smoke weed in the house, or you can, or no, she said you can either not smoke weed and live here, or you can move out and smoke weed. And I was like, cool, I'm out. Uh, so 2 towns over was St. Charles. My best friend's parents had a house that they were trying to sell and couldn't. They offered to rent it to us for like nothing, like $300 a month or some shit. And so we moved in and
That's a beautiful thing.
yeah, it was like 5 years, from I moved on, my 19th birthday. I moved out when I was like 24 or 25. And it was just a nonstop party for years.
Okay.
And we had a basement that we had every fucking instrument in the sun under there. And a million fucking bands spawned out of that stupid little basement. And that was St. Charles. That was where most of my music got its start.
Yeah. Yeah. I came across something called alt adults.
Yeah, yeah, that was one that might be the first band I was ever in that really like we played shows and yeah, Alt Adults was a fucking ridiculous a ridiculous band. Uh
It sounded fun
it was fun
and
and
drunk. It sounded fun and drunk.
it was very drunk. Every song was smoking a cigarette outside, just bullshitting. Someone would say something fucking stupid, and it was like, let's go downstairs and write a song. And, 20 minutes later, you'd have two fucking songs out of it. And yeah, it was really fun.
So,
Bars loved us, like, because we had a song about shotgunning beer. So we'd play the set and we'd play shotgun a beer really early. So everyone at the bar would be drinking their beer. We'd tell them to go get a beer to shotgun a beer. They would all go to the bar, shotgun a beer for that song, which was like 20 seconds long. And then they'd have to go buy another beer to drink for the rest of our set. And then at the end of our set, we would play shotgun a beer again and get everyone like every bartender loved us because like 6 drinks each per person, like during our set or some shit.
yeah, that's
Yeah, I
wonderful.
love that band. Helga Pataki is very fucking similar. Very similar in writing style and shit, and it's a completely different group of people that I just vibe with in the same way. But yeah, Alt Adults was a stupid fucking band, had a blast with it.
Yeah, I listened to it several times and I could not figure out. You can't be too drunk to punk.
Yeah,
Was very drunk, was very punk, but I still don't know what the lyrics are
yeah,
because it
yeah,
was very drunk.
yeah. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun writing and recording all of that shit. It
Right?
was
There's
just
two
yeah,
releases, right? One's called
yeah.
Control Alt Delete from November 2011, and the other one, like years later,
years
2017.
later, we recorded it and it just sat for fucking years, and I eventually got around to putting it out. Yeah, that band was fucking awesome. We had a person in the band. I don't talk to them anymore. I'm not entirely sure how good at terms everyone is with them anymore. But this kid Ernie that was in the band didn't know how to play guitar. And so we'd give him a guitar and he just made the chunky noises underneath everything. We'd turn him up just loud enough that like he could make some noise, but we wouldn't let him practice. We wouldn't invite him to half the practices because we didn't want him to be good. And so he's the one in like the "Fuck You, Ernie" and all those
Yeah,
songs.
yeah, yeah. I was about to
That's
bring that one up.
Ernie. We
Yeah.
literally talk shit about him on stage, like while like the show is happening. Like, yeah, we when we recorded the album, we put him on the album and like recorded his guitar, and we fucked around with talking about doing a release where we muted my guitar, and so it was just the bass and Ernie's guitar going, because like it was a thing of beauty. Like the way he didn't know how to play guitar was so good. Like
So he just
I
pulled a
just
fucking a Sid up on stage, huh?
yeah,
Pretending how to play.
yeah, basically. Yeah. So it was a whole thing.
It was a whole thing.
But it was really fun. We just made noise and just tried to annoy people. Uh, we did that Flipper cover. We were really big fans of Flipper. Flipper was a major influence for us. I love Flipper, and that band was super Flipper oriented.
Word. And then you moved to Boulder. Is that
Yeah,
what happened?
yeah. I moved to Boulder after that, and I moved there in 2014. Uh, January 2014.
Oh, so the dead work pre Boulder.
Dead Work is pre-Boulder. Yes, Dead Work has been going on since probably at least before or around alt adult stuff. So like 2010, 2011. Dead Work's been going for fucking
Well, the first release wasn't until March 31st, 2023. I mean 2023, 2013. Getting way behind myself here.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. I definitely wrote a bunch of songs before that. So
Oh
I'd
yeah,
say at least 2011.
yeah, because in 2013 you put out a bunch of shit, right? There was that the initial track was Eternal Oblivion, and then
Yeah.
then Scabs, which was the 3 track
Yeah.
in July, followed by Thrall and September. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a lot of that music already. And so I think it was like the Scabs I recorded and released like as a piece of music. And then those other songs were kind of just stuff that I had fucked around with beforehand and didn't have anywhere to put it yet. So I made the bandcamp and started putting all the stuff up there. So yeah. God, that feels like so fucking long ago now.
Yeah,
It was so long ago.
we're all getting old. We're all getting old.
It just keeps happening. It's all fucked up. I don't like it.
There's no way to stop it either.
No, no, there truly isn't. Yeah, just fucking march of time, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Whew. So yeah, 2013, 2011, I'd say it was when most of that stuff kind of started anyway. And then the first the release was Scabs. Um, and I guess I kind of just I really like the idea of concept albums. And so Dead Work has always kind of been there are outliers, but for the most part, Dead Work has always kind of been just my concept album band where I can explore ideas in a more granular way, I guess. I don't know.
Train your eyes on the fast approaching storm. Keep your head clear, subdue your fear, and fight for the ones who mourn. There is nothing left of the old
So
Word. So tell me about the full, what would you consider it, a full length plain words in March of 2014? Because I really dug that one. That was
yeah, Plain Words is the outlier, really. It is that was just a collection of songs that I wrote. I was writing a bunch of music at the time, and I was still in Illinois when I wrote and recorded all of that, and I didn't put it out until I had moved to Boulder. But that was for a very brief moment in time, I had five. I think there were five of us. My friend Shane played washboard. Um, Tom played bass. My friend Yoshi played viola, and then my buddy Pat played ukulele, and I played guitar. And we did dead work as that group, and that was how I recorded Plain Words. So that was that album. Um, and yeah, everyone wrote their own parts for that basically and recorded that. We all recorded that shit. Years ago, I recorded part of that. I moved out of that house I was living in around that time, and I moved back in with my mom for a year to save money to move to Colorado. And I did a lot of writing while I was in that room, in my old bedroom from when I was a kid. Um, I moved back in there, and I wrote a lot of music back then. I write so much music. If I don't have it when I don't have a job, I'm prolific as fuck. Second I get a job, it all comes to a fucking grinding halt. And I didn't have a job then. I did have a job. I was working, but it was like really like good money, but very like random, like, you know. So yeah, I don't know. It was yeah, that was that album. And then I didn't release it until I moved to Colorado. I like bought these packs, these like cardboard folding things, and like burned my own screens and screen printed each one. I just screen printed 100 of them, and like, oh my God, it was a fucking nightmare, you know, absolute fucking nightmare putting that entire thing together by myself. I have pictures of me like laying out like all of the screen printed things like all over the basement and shit like that. And I built my own screen printing like press thing and built the screen by hand and like made my own exposures and fucking it was just an absolute fucking nightmare. Like I had a blast. I had a blast doing it.
yeah, it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Please say you still have a couple of those sitting around that you haven't
I
got rid of yet.
I absolutely do. There's definitely a couple sitting around somewhere.
Because it's pretty much your whole collection is sold out on the bandcamp.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not enough people that listen to my music for me to warrant like I do like a run of everything and then I just stop. Like I'm so bad about mailing
I
out
want you to
orders.
screen print some more.
Dude, I still have the negatives. I saved all of it. I could literally print more of those if I wanted to, and it'll probably never fucking happen. But if I find one of those, if you want it, I'll fucking throw that shit your way. There's gotta be one
yeah.
lying around here somewhere. Yeah, a
Word.
lot of work. I wouldn't recommend it.
But the sadder it gets when I fall apart. I was naive to think the world was good, and so the world changes for the worse. Seems we're all controlled by this fucking curse.
So yeah, then you released like I said, we already discussed earlier, various releases, which was a collection, I'm assuming, of various previous releases between 2012 and 14, hence the title of the album.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing is weird, man. The songs on that are so fucking all over the place. I was listening to have you ever heard of the band From the Cradle to the Rave?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've
Roz from Antivenom did a song with them.
Yeah, probably. He was massive back in the day. He was in a band called My Own Religion. Uh, Insanely good ska band. If you should definitely look them up. They were around the same time as The Infested and all of those fucking crack rock steady bands. And his side project was this electronic. It was like drum and bass and jungle mixed with like punk. So it'd be like guitars over these like drum and bass beats and like jungle like bass rhythms and shit. And it was some of the coolest music I'd ever fucking heard in my life. He did like all full length and then like three like weird one-off albums. And it was so fucking cool. And so I tried to mimic that and I did a song like that. That's the song SOA on that, the song about the School of the Americas. Just weird shit. Fucking around with hip hop and trying to like do raps and shit, like all sorts of weird shit.
So I actually have some old school My Own Religion from way back in the day from when I collected that shit. Honk If You Love Satan promo and Keeping the Peace from 2001 and 2003. I used to
Yeah.
rock that shit back in the day.
Yep. Yeah, My Own Religion fucking ripped. I don't know what that dude is doing now. He fucking like I said, he switched to doing From the Cradle to the Rave. Check that shit out. It's cool. It's cool as fuck. His previous project for that was called Cot Death. It was a lot of the same stuff. And then he started doing like regular electronic music and stuff. It didn't catch me as much, but yeah, From the Cradle to the Rave, I heard that shit and I was like, well, I wonder if I could do that. And so I wrote a song like that. It's fun. All electronics. I fucking like did the whole thing in Reason, which is like a fucking you know what Reason is? The
Yeah.
fucking yeah. I used to fuck around with all the racks and build my own fucking synths and that shit all the time back in the day. Um and yeah, so just yeah, a bunch of random shit.
Yeah, it was very random. And a stupid henchman cover.
And a stupid henchman cover.
You
I have been
have to
listening to
throw it one.
Stupid Henchmen since I was like in high school. 2007 or some shit. I've been listening to Stupid Henchmen. Like that has been one of my favorite bands since I was damn near a child. Like
What's your favorite album?
honestly, that's a fucking trick question. Cause literally all good. I'm hard pressed to fucking point to anything Chet's done that's not a fucking banger. I can listen to Car Bombs Are Cool all the way through. I can listen to what's the newest one he did?
The split
Uh,
with the Dead Rejects? Or are you talking about anything to get
no, I'm talking about the last full length. What we can do to get by or anything we can
anything to
do.
get you through?
Yeah, anything to get you through.
I think I keep
Everything.
saying that fucking name of that album wrong.
It's very possible. I anything I see, anything he touches is gold. Like I said, I don't think he's ever put out anything that's not a fucking absolute banger. The fucking Intifada shit that they did years ago, like, oh, it's all good. Like it's literally just all fucking cool. Like, so yeah, I wanted to do a fucking stupid henchman cover for years. Um, I fucking yeah, I love his shit so much. Like I said, I was listening to his shit today. Like it's never left my brain. It's crazy.
Burn it down, destroy expectations that we won't resist. Burn it down, how hidden fear is you pay for the crimes you commit. Burn it down, destroy expectations that we won't resist. Burn it down, how hidden fear is you pay for the crimes you commit.
So, Unnecessary Evil. There was a bit of a gap before you released Unnecessary Evil.
Yeah, that was another weird one. I had we played as a three piece for like, I don't know, a year or two when I moved here. When I moved to Colorado, I was following my best friend Bree had moved out here. Um, and she was the drummer of the Alt Adults. And she was the drummer for plenty of shit I fucked with back in the day. And when I moved out to Colorado, I moved in with Bree and we were just fucking around with music and doing the stuff that I eventually put out on Unnecessary Evils. And I got a job at Whole Foods. And my first day of training, I sat down next to this dude named Trevor, and we hit it off like gangbusters. Like, just absolutely fucking started talking, and it was just, he was just a homie immediately. And he was telling me he went to school for bass. He played electric bass, he played upright bass. I was like, fuck, I need an upright bassist. And so he started coming over and we started jamming and we wrote a bunch of songs together. And that was Unnecessary Evils was all of that stuff that came out of those couple of years playing together. um yeah, so that was Unnecessary Evils. That was another fucking weird one. And that was like the last time I really like fucked with like just like putting a bunch of songs together. I kind of stuck to the concept album idea after that. But yeah, that's another fucking weird one. Bree played like a suitcase drum set back then, and all of it fit into this Samsonite suitcase I found and shit like that. And yeah, it was yeah, an upright bass, and we played almost exclusively ska. It was weird, but it was a weird time for Dead Work. And I really had a blast back then. That was a really good time. And that was the last time Dead Work ever played live. We played Compost Heap the first year. I was one of the organizers of that year, and we played our last show was Compost Heap, and I moved away. I moved to Texas for like a year with my now ex partner, and yeah, and that was the last time I played live with Dead Work. Was
So
was
so
was around that time.
so everything post Unnecessary Evil has been just P.
Just P. Yep.
Where
Yeah. Um. Yeah. It always was really a solo project. I kept putting bands together. The version I had in Colorado was definitely the most put together and thought out like version of that band ever. And I never really met any musicians that made me want to do it live. Um, the pieces just kept getting bigger, especially once I started incorporating like black metal and crust into it, and it just everything started to get too big. I got into really big music, and I just wanted to write big music, and wrangling three people is hard. Wrangling four is damn near impossible. And wrangling five is, you know, I don't whatever metaphor they have for fucking chaos, like an impossibility. Um, so
well, how
yeah,
the
it kind of just stopped.
well, how the fuck does Elliot do it?
Uh, everyone believes in Elliot. I Everyone believes in Elliot, like we all fuck yeah, everybody put all of their music shit on hold to do Doom Scroll stuff. Micah, doing a bunch of music shit. Riz was they were doing music stuff still, especially with Micah back then. And doing solo stuff. And I had stopped. I gave up on music, dude. I fucking seriously was like, I'll still write music and record music, but I was like, I didn't plan on fucking playing live anymore. I didn't plan on doing any of that shit. I was like, maybe I can record music for a living and that'd be cool. But I was pretty much done before I joined Doom Scroll. So yeah, I think the only reason you can wrangle 5 people for Doom Scrolls because everyone believes in what Elliot's trying to do.
He is a fucking hell of a songwriter.
He's a hell of a songwriter.
He can throw some shit together.
Yeah, he's another one. He's like that Chet level of just everything Elliot puts out is good. Um, because he agonizes about it, you know. He'll re-record the song 6 times before, rewrite the song 6 times, before
Yeah,
it's in
I mean,
its demo phase.
yeah, that fucking hermit stew, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm tracking. I'm tracking. So let's get back in. I digressed us again. I digressed us again.
I think that might
So
have been
you
me.
moved to Texas, Land Bridge,
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah, Landbridge was my chance to experiment with black metal. I got really, really into this band called Panopticon, um, which is a black metal. It's a black. Well, it was just a guy back in the day. He was from Kentucky, and he released this album that was like half bluegrass, half black metal. That was like, it's one of the most perfect pieces of music I've ever heard. I love it. I listened to it a trillion fucking times. Um, and I heard it and I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to play big music like this. This was like, before I got into black metal, I was listening to like Spaz and Charles Bronson, and I was just trying to find the shortest music I could find, The Locust and shit like that. And then I hit a point where I was like, okay, I think I found the shortest music I can. What's the longest music? And I started to get into like black metal and all of these, 10, 15-minute long songs and shit like that. And I was like, I wonder if I could write a 10-minute song. And the land bridge is like 9 minutes. So I didn't make it. The person I was with, the partner that I moved to Texas with, her grandmother lived in some tiny ass like one road in, one road out city up in the mountains in eastern Oregon. And she had passed away, years prior and had a house that hadn't been touched since like 1970 or some shit. And it's just middle of the fucking town, just, hadn't been touched in fucking forever. And her dad was like, can you go there and like clean it out? And so we went up there for 3 weeks and we lived in this house with like barely electricity, barely running water, and old growth forests all around us. And I just kept going up into the mountains with my guitar and just writing in the mountains. And that was how I wrote The Land Bridge. And because I'd never been in, I mean, I guess that's not true. Where I lived in upstate New York was very, very old. Like those woods and forests were massive and old. Oh, that's a cute cat.
Yeah, this
Dang.
man.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's where the land bridge came from. Was just me, and I brought a microphone and I brought my mixer and my acoustic guitar up with me when we went on that trip. And I wrote that song in like 3 weeks just up there. Um and Yeah, that was the change for me. Like after that, I was like, okay, like fuck this folk punk shit. Like I'm done with folk punk. And I wanted to do something completely different. And so that was the change that Dead Work took, and I'm still running that path now. Everything up until that was some form of folk punk for the most part, except for that weird electronic shit. Um, and yeah, so that was the Land Bridge. That was I wrote and recorded all of that. My buddy Tom did actually play bass on that. He was original bassist of Dead Work back in the day. He was still living in Illinois. He had a kid that is now like I think he's like 12 or some shit. Absolute craziness. I remember that dude pissing in the hallway of our fucking house, too drunk one night, and now he's got a kid. And his kid's all grown up and brilliant and shit. And but yeah, he played bass on that for me and practiced it a bunch and nailed the whole thing in one fucking take like a boss. I'm actually going up for his wedding in like 2 weeks back to Illinois, maybe 3 weeks from now. Groomsman in his wedding. Yeah, Tom's rad. So yeah, so that was the land bridge. Uh,
You're gonna
yeah,
be in Illinois a lot in the next couple.
I've been in Illinois twice already this year, I think, and I'm going to be in Illinois two more times in the next month. So a lot of Illinois. Before that, I hadn't gone back in like 10 years.
I would like to take this moment to point out to everyone that anyone from the state doesn't put that S at the end.
True. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Illinois. Yeah.
that drives us crazy.
Yeah. I hate Illinois.
I grew up
I
in a
keep
cornfield, man. You don't even know.
I used to spend a lot of time in those cornfields. We used to go to DeKalb all the time for shows and shit like that. Nothing but cornfields out there, I tell you what.
Yeah, my
Fucking
mom
crazy.
lives in Jerseyville, which is just north of Alton, across the river of St. Louis, and that's where the
Okay.
cornfields start, and they don't
Yep.
stop.
And they don't stop. Yep. Till you're about 50 miles outside of Chicago. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna be in Illinois a lot this year, but yeah, I don't know.
Go to the show tonight. Some hopeless shitty band. My faces picks the winner. Let's show them what they'll win. Expected to get process of 40
So around that same time, you started a new project that was more punk, recession proof.
Yeah.
Tell us a
Yeah.
bit about the beginning of that, because that almost coincides with the first recession proof came out right before the White Plague did.
Is that right?
Okay, so Blank Run, the EP, came out July 20th, 2008.
Oh yeah, it did. Holy shit. Yes. Okay. I fucking completely forgot about the Bank Run EP.
The Bank Run EP. Tell me about the Bank Run EP.
That was just me fucking being goofy and talking shit. That was I was writing The White Plague around that time. And I've always needed a dumb punk project on the side. I always need something else for me to just, because all my concept albums are all fucking serious and, like they're always tackling heavy concepts and all this shit. And I always need to just, I need my alt adults. I need my fucking recession proof. I need my Helga Pataki. I need something to get all of the other thoughts out. So that's recession proof. So yeah, the Bankrun EP was just me trying to write some really fast fucking power violence shit and just, talk shit, like yeah, I love talking shit. I talk shit all day. Anyone who knows me knows I just talk shit all the time. And that EP specifically is just me talking shit, like making fun of punks and all of the shit that I am, yeah, that's that was that was the Bank Run EP. I completely forgot about that. Jesus. So yeah, that was Bank Run. That was just a bunch of goofy songs I tried to crank out real fast. So yeah.
Pestilence spread through the heart of a foreign land, extinguishing life with the silent hand.
While distracting yourself from this heavy concept album, 7 tracks of The White Plague. Tell me about The White Plague.
Oh, the
That was the
White
first
Plague was
That was the first one I came across of your
yeah,
network.
that's like the release I've done. That album was an absolute fucking nightmare. I wrote that entire thing as mostly one piece of music. I wrote most of those songs trying to go into each other. Um I I don't know. I don't know what to say about the White Plague. It was yeah, I don't know. I guess it was just my first attempt at trying to like make a giant cohesive piece of music. Scabs was my first attempt. That was 3 songs that all fucking just went back to back and was all about one topic. Um, but the White Plague was me trying to really actually I don't know. Yeah, I guess just tell a really, really long, big fucking story. And it was an absolute nightmare. I wrote about 3.5 songs, and my hard drive on my computer took a shit, and I lost all of it. I had a couple of random bounced demos for 3 out of 4 of those songs, or maybe 2 out of 3 of those songs. And then the third one, I had to like literally just rewrite and re-remember how to play the entire fucking thing. And it was a fucking nightmare. I had to buy a new fucking computer like halfway through fucking like writing and recording it. And it was I mean, I don't know. I can't listen to it now. I fucking hate the way it sounds. I really need to go back and like maybe get a real drummer to fucking play on it because I programmed all of those drums. It was a nightmare.
I
People
might
really like it. It's fine. It's cool. Um, but I don't know when people like ask about, like my other bands, I'd rather point them to Scabs. I think Scabs is better. I don't know. Uh, the White Flag was a lot. It was a fucking nightmare to write and record. Uh, only way it could possibly be worse is this new fucking shit I'm about to put out, which is also a fucking nightmare. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, man. I at this point, if I fucking write another album, it's gonna take me like 15 fucking years, and I'll probably die before it finishes. I feel like George R. R. Martin fucking never gonna fucking finish Winds of Winter, yeah. Um, yeah,
never.
I don't know. White Plague was yeah, I don't know. It was cool. Um, but
But I listened to Scabs first.
I'd say listen to Scabs first. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. People like it. I you know, I have a weird amount of fans in Europe. Dead Work, I think, is way bigger in Europe than it is in the States. I don't know why. But yeah, yeah, it was a weird fucking album.
I don't wanna read about it, I don't wanna hear about it, I don't wanna watch it if it challenges me. I refuse to listen to it, I refuse to engage with
How about tell me about No Love Deep State.
Okay, yeah. No love, deep state. Um, first of all, that the album name alone, I don't know if anyone ever put this together, but Death Grips released an album called No Love Deep Web. And it was a picture of Zach Hill. I think the drummer's name is Zach Hill. I can't fuck remember his name, but it was literally a blurred out picture of his dick on the album cover. And the album cover for No Love Deep State was a picture of Donald Trump on the front. And I made it all pink and shit as well, like and like making it like a joke that I also have a dick on my album cover, and I named it No Love Deep State. I don't think anyone ever got that fucking joke. Um, I don't know. No Love Deep State was just it was like the year of the fucking 20 was it what year did that come out?
October 2019.
2019. So yeah, it was like coming up to the election. It was
Oh yeah,
coming
the closer you got to the election, the more recession proof came out.
yeah. I had a lot to say. I was really fucking angry. Um
Good, like we could get into the erosion of democracy series.
yeah, all of that stuff was all written around the exact same time. Uh, to go back to No Love Deep State, I wrote every single one of those songs in a day, and I recorded it the next day. I finished that entire album in a little over a week and a half.
Yeah, yeah. Saying the man who's like, I could never put out another album. It's gonna take me forever.
I could put out recession-proof albums all fucking day. I don't know about dead work. But yeah, I wrote and recorded that entire thing in like almost a song a day. Um, and yeah, that was a lot. And then the erosion of democracy was, I wanted to write more serious shit, but I was still working on the dead work stuff, and I didn't want to put out more dead work stuff. So I gave myself song of the month, basically. So every month I had to write one song. And I did 6 of them in a row. Those were the Erosion of the Democracies, part 1 through. I guess I only got to 5. I think I did parts 1 through 5. Maybe it was only 4. It was 4 or 5. And those were like about specific like people. I wrote one about Mitch McConnell. Uh, I wrote one about fucking I can't remember. I don't know. I was so pissed around that election time. I was in Florida at the time of all of that
Oh
stuff.
my goodness.
Yeah, I moved back home with my mom again to get my feet underneath me after a nasty I got into a bicycle accident of all things. And I the cops got called, and I ended up having to pay for this dude's medical bills because I was at fault. And I owed like $15,000 to the state of Colorado. And all of my friends told me they weren't. We were all living in a house in Boulder, and everyone was like, we're not going to stay here anymore. And I was like, fuck, I don't have any money to like put a deposit down. So I went back to my mom's again, and she had moved to fucking Florida. So oops, I'm gonna rip my headphone out. So I was in Florida for the 2020 election.
That's
Uh,
be.
I heard a lot of people say the N-word a lot. I heard a lot of people just be, you know, they love Trump so much, and they
Ah,
it, it was a nightmare. I don't know how else to put it. It was a fucking nightmare living in Florida during the 2020 election. During COVID was happening then too. Like, and it was fucking dumb. It was fucking dumb.
yeah, yeah. I lived here in
I
Missouri during that. It was not any better. Right
I'm
now, right now it's brutal. Like there's more Trump flags in town than American flags.
yeah,
And I'm not joking. There's big signs that
yeah,
say, "Pray for this man. He's fighting an evil that we can't even understand."
yeah.
And it has Donald Trump on it. There's a big poster over here that's like 10 foot by 12 foot of him. I just got ricocheted in the ear pose.
Yeah, yeah.
That like
It's a fucking trip. I don't know. That whole thing. I was so tired. I'm still so tired, but like
tired,
I was
tired.
so fucking tired that
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
wrote all that shit.
2022, the 3 tracks, February 8, 2022. You released Tired.
Yeah, yeah, I was tired then too. I'm tired a lot, yeah. It's an exhausting fucking world we live in.
Yeah, you were very prolific with that recession proof. You did release a dead work in the middle of it though. February
Yeah.
21st, 2020, New Year No Me.
Yeah. That was another one. I sometimes I just get caught in these tangents and I don't know what to do with it. I was listening to like so much fucking I don't know, Built to Spill and shit like that. None of that comes through in New Year No Me. I was when I was in Florida, I was some of the most depressed I've ever been in my entire life. And New Year No Me, all of the music that I put out while I was in Florida was just therapy. Just trying to get through it, all of it. Um, it was living with my mom and my aunt was great. I mean, they're both absolutely sweet people. I worked and was able to just save money and they had food for me and I had a place to sleep. And My mom has always been an incredibly supportive person. And so is my aunt. I mean, she's, they're sisters. They, squabble and are so funny together. And she's like a second mom. It was always been like I've had two moms. I used to introduce her as mom number two, and they were always like, "Oh my God, don't say that." But they just they're so sweet, and it feels bad that it felt that bad when I was there. It was a hard time for me, and music helped me get through a lot of that. Just Yeah, I don't know. I wrote a lot of music then, and it was definitely all keeping me alive while I was living there. I really hit a point. I hadn't even paid off all of the shit that I owed to the state, and I was like, "Mom, I gotta go. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm losing my mind here." And so I moved back up to Colorado in December of 2019. 2019.
In December of 2019. So New Year No Me was released after you got back to
Mm,
because that was 2020.
Never mind then. It must have been 20.
I'm sorry.
I don't fucking remember. It was around then.
Bridges you burned and they never return. Punctuate final words for the
Recession Proof happened down in Florida. Well, the main chunk of it.
The main chunk of it happened down there.
Right.
I
In
did the Winter
Blank
of
We
Pardons
Trust.
after I got back.
In Blank We Trust. The Interview. The Winter of Pardons.
That was I wrote that in a week and a half, right after the election. Um, and I was almost done writing that album, and then January 6th happened. And I wasn't working yet, and I was sitting around the house with my best friend Bree. Her and her wife had just had a child like a year and a half, maybe a year prior. And so we're hanging out with this little baby, just hanging out around the house that day, watching the fucking news as like people were fucking like crashing into the fucking into the fucking Capitol Hill and shit. And yeah, I fucking ran downstairs. I was like, I gotta fucking write a song about this like now. And I wrote that song like 2 fucking days after that shit happened. And that's the shape of Benghazis to come on that album. I really like that album a lot. I like that one more than I like No Love Deep State. I really like Winter of Pardons.
And it had a nice Chumbawamba cover at the end.
It does have a nice Chumbawamba cover at the end. Yeah, I love Chumbawamba so much. I've been a big fan of Chumbawamba for a long fucking time. And yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. Just ever.
Word. So then you moved back to Colorado and released Rip Current.
Yeah. So Rip Current was actually written uh it was written around the same time I wrote the New Year Know Me. That's very similar in music styles and shit like that. And again, I was going through some massive fucking depression. And I wrote Rip Current. I brought it back up and finished it basically. It was mostly written. I had to finish it and write lyrics for it. And boy, that's a fucking weird song. It's a really weird song. That's another one. That and the New Year Know Me is definitely the most like personal I've ever gotten, like lyrically, that I've like shared with other people. Yeah. Which is weird that both, like I don't know. Yeah, I just like between that and like Recession Proof, like I'm just like all over the place. I'm so fucking manic and depressive. It's so crazy that you can really see it in my music, I guess. I never fucking realized that before. Yeah.
I'm not trying to point it out or anything.
No, I'm pointing this shit out myself. I'm realizing this right now. I'm like, fuck yo.
Everything is your clear fight. Everything is your clear fight. Everything is your clear fight. Everything is your clear fight.
Well, let's distract away from that with something fun. Helga Pataki.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so our shitty demo was released in February 22nd, 2022. That's a lot of fucking twos.
That's a lot of fucking twos. Yeah.
Was that
That
intentional
shit.
because of the twos?
I don't think we fucking planned that at all. When did that come out?
02 22 2022.
Damn. No, we definitely didn't plan it, but that's fucking hilarious. We would do that. Helga Pataki started off as a side project. Micah and I were I don't just talking about starting a dumb fucking project. And I can't remember who came up with the name Helga Pataki. It was Micah or Riz or someone. And it was just like, yo, that's such a good fucking power violence name. Like, we got to use that. And then Fuel for Your Butt. We were in the middle of doing Doom Scroll. We were filming a music video that has still not been released. You should ask Elliot about that. For Silver Lining, we actually filmed a music video for it years ago. And while we were filming for it, we went to Smash Burger and got food. And while we were driving back, I wrote that the line, I just ate Smash Burger and now I got a poo, out with the old, in with the new. And that was it. Helga Bataki had to be a band after that. And so I started programming drums, and Micah picked up the bass. They were already playing bass for Doom Scroll, so it kind of just made sense. And we started writing music, just the two of us, and we had about 4 or 5 songs. And then our friend Richard moved back from Oakland, and he's a great drummer, and he's really good with the blasts. And so we fucking summoned him into the band. And Helga Vitaki has been going strong ever since. We got a show this Saturday.
Is
And
is it going to be 18 minutes of awesome?
yeah, probably. Sounds about right. Yeah. Or we might be to 19 minutes now. We've written a couple of new songs in the last couple of months. We recorded the drums for our full length before we left for the last tour. And hopefully we're going to be finishing that up soon. So we should have a full length with, like, I don't know, 20 something songs on it coming out pretty soon.
Is there any relation between this band and Helga Bataki from Argentina that released Mushu in 2020?
No. No, there isn't. There is more than that Helga Bataki. There are multiple. The one of them spelled it Hellga Pataki. There's a couple of different Helga Batakis. None of them released enough music for us to worry about. Uh,
You know what you guys should do? You should go around and listen to all the other Helga Patakis and then do cover versions of their songs.
that would be a good idea. We did sit around and listen to a bunch of the other Helga Batakis before. We decided I don't understand how every single one of them ended up having the same musical idea as us to play like that kind of music. I thought we were kind of clever on that front, but apparently we weren't. But I think we're the only ones still doing stuff, so I'm not super worried about it.
I'm thinking you guys should like collaborate or do like a split with the Argentina one or something. I don't know.
It could be good. It could be good. We also have discussed fucking trying to get all of the Helga Patakis together to put together an album of all of us.
That would be awesome.
That would be fucking hilarious. So yeah, I don't know, we'll see what happens with that. Could be good in the future.
Tell me how did that shit go down?
I don't know, man. It was weird. Elliot and Taylor have been in my orbit. Like, we've been in the same circles for years and never crossed paths, or very rarely crossed paths. I kind of knew who they both were, when I was familiar with their music. But like, we didn't really like talk or hang out. I was a massive Atrocity Solution fan.
Oh yeah.
I still have the patch and the CD I got when I crowdfunded uh Lost Remedies. Like I've been a fan for a very fucking long time. And
That
so we've
album,
all kind of like been like known a lot of the same people for a long time. And I'd moved back to Colorado and was living in Fort Collins with my best friend. But I didn't have a lot of friends. Everyone moved away. So like I said, when I left and moved into Florida, everyone else moved away as well. And all of my friends were gone. And so when I got back to Colorado, there wasn't anyone here. Riz and Micah were in Texas. My one buddy moved to Hawaii. I had another friend move to Oregon. Everybody split up. And so I didn't really have any friends. And my buddy Gio from Dirty Harry was in town and hit me up and was like, "Yo, like you want to kick it?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah." So Gio comes and we started hanging out and Gio was like, "Oh, Elliot and Taylor want to hang out. You want to go hang out over there?" And I was like, "Sure." And we went over there and hung out for a couple hours and they were like, "Where do you live?" And I was like, "I don't know, like 10 minutes down the road." And they were like, "Well, we should kick it." And I was like, "All right." So we started kicking it and we just fucking bonded over video games and music and all that shit. Elliot and I's music tastes line up like you could fucking overlap that shit and see no discrepancies basically. And we were just hanging out all the fucking time and Elliot was like, "I'm working on this shit." He's like, "I got this music I'm working on." He's like, "I need a bass player." And I was like, "Word." And he's like, "Do you want to play bass in this band?" And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "You're asking me. Okay. Sure, I guess." And so that was that. He sent me the demos of all the songs. I like learned them overnight. Maybe it was like 2 days or something like that. I've always had an ear. Like I can just hear a song. And if you give me 10 minutes, I could probably play the song front to back for you. And so he was like, "You want to come over and jam?" And I was like, "Sure." And I showed up with the bass and or I showed up and picked up his bass and I just like, you know, played all of the songs and he was like, "Wait, you like figured those out already?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, okay." So then I was just in the band. And they were looking for so it was Taylor, Elliot, and I. We played together a bunch and like practiced and did some shit. But Elliot wanted more people to fill out the band, and so um, Riz reached out and was like, "Hey, I want to be in the band." And so Elliot was like, "Cool, you want to learn how to play drums?" And Riz was like, "Sure." And Riz was like, "Micah wants to play in the band too." And Elliot was like, "All right, cool." And I don't know how the fuck it came about, but they were like, "All right, well, how about Micah plays bass and P plays guitar?" I so I ended up on guitar. I really figured out the bass. I mean, like I figured out the guitar parts fine, but like I like playing guitar in Doom Scroll, but like I was supposed to play bass originally, and like I really wish I had continued to play bass because it was those bass lines were so much fun. Like it was so there was a point in time in the band where I had all of those bass lines memorized, and if you just gave me a bass, I could fucking pick up and play all of those fucking songs. And that was years ago now. That ain't the case anymore. But that was it. Like we just started fucking playing music together and that was that. And yeah, Elliot is a drummer first. That was his first instrument, and so he's my go-to whenever I need drums done for anything. He can uh if I give him 20 minutes with a song, he'll have the whole thing memorized and like a bunch of stuff written for each part drum wise. Like he's just brilliant. So yeah, he's my go-to drum guy for sure.
right? It was Adam Whitner when I was talking to him. He's like, Elliot just showed up one day and he already knew all the songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Elliot has that same brain as me, you know, like just you hear something and you can play it. But Elliot is 1,000 times better than me at that. Like we both are good at that. I'm good at that. You can give me a song and I'll figure it the fuck out. Elliot, you give them a song, you show them 10 seconds of a song, they will intuit the rest of the song and it'll be right. Like he's just that good. It's
It'll
a
come
trip.
out better than the song that you gave him.
It'll come out better than the original fucking song.
Sickening.
It's fucking frustrating as shit. He's just too brilliant. So yeah, that was how I joined Doom Scroll. Uh, and yeah, we've been going ever since.
Non-stop.
Yeah, and like I said, I had given up on music. I was like, cool, I can release music for myself, but like I'm not like, what's the point? Like, what's the point in trying to find a fucking band and blah 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 and all, you know, it just I didn't see it happening anymore. And Elliot, you know, I knew if Elliot was doing something, it was gonna be special. So I was like, fuck, like this is my chance to like be a part of something better and bigger and better. And so, you know, who was I to fucking say no to that? So, so
And
yeah, that was that.
Riot Fest.
Yeah, now we're playing fucking Riot Fest.
And you gotta play with all these fucking badass bands. Codefendant.
Yeah.
Fucking, how was that show?
Yeah, they're the best. Co-defendants are so sweet. I don't know Sam super well. We bullshitted here and there. But Chesky is just an absolute fucking sweetheart. Love him to death. Every time we cross paths, you know, it's big hugs and heartfelt talks, you know. He's just one of the nicest people I've ever met in my fucking life. And then as a band musically, they're fucking stupid good. First time I ever saw them, they were playing with Zeta as their fucking backing band. And it was, I don't know, it's like a religious experience, man. Like they're fucking good. And then the last time we played with them, they were doing like the backing DJ tracks and then just like some guitar work over it. And it was still so fucking good. They truly are on another fucking level. Bottles to the Ground, the record label that we're technically both on, really pushes them super fucking hard. And
Well, it's because
you know,
Mike wrote that bass line. Boo doo 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 doo.
yeah, 100%. And it I mean, all of the success they get, they deserve it. They're fucking brilliant. Um, yeah, they're really fucking good. Yeah. It's a trip. All of the stuff we've been over the last couple of years has been a trip. Um, it's I don't know. I always take it at least with a little bit of a grain of salt because like none of it's my music, you know. Like I really just exist to support Elliot.
Wait till they get a whip of your 7 degrees. Winking a handshake, it that's legalese. Mark of the devil and imprints on shallow. No trace left behind in the wake of the sea. I told myself I would be better than the ones before me. The bills keep piling up and fill my lungs. I'm fucking drowning.
There hadn't been any recession proof in quite some time, and then about what, a week and a half ago, another song popped up.
Yeah, after not this last tour, the tour before it, I got back and I was just in a bad way. We had to call the last tour, not the last tour, the tour before that early, because of some personal shit. And it wasn't even shit that affected me, just having to cancel the tour. And you know, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Elliot and Taylor flew home, and I was the only one sober, and I fucking drove us from, you know, Vegas basically almost all the way back to Colorado in one go. by, just driving Micah and Riz back, just left me in a bad spot. I was just nonstop fucking depressed. And then we went on this next tour. And I don't know, by the end of that, I was more fucking depressed than I was beforehand. Uh, um, and I got back and I was just like, I need to write something. And I didn't want to write more dead work shit because I was still working on that and I felt like I was getting close. And so I sat down and started with a little riff and I wrote that song. I wrote the most of the song in one day. I wrote the lyrics the next day. I had Elliot come record it like the day after that, the drums. And then I went back and I re-recorded guitar and bass and vocals like the day after that. I mean, I don't know, the whole thing was written and recorded in like 3 days or something like that, like all said and done. Maybe 4 days. And yeah, the song is just about um I don't know, like we have experienced some a really amazing success with Doom Scroll. Um, but I don't know, I guess the song was really just about feeling unaccomplished still, like um yeah, I don't know. It was about just not feeling satisfied still. Ever since then I didn't realize it at the time, but I fucking was halving my doses of Lexapro for a while because I couldn't get to the store to get any before the last tour. And after I got back on that full time, I started to feel a little bit better. So I'm assuming part of that was just the fact that I fucking couldn't get my depression meds for a while. So yeah. So that recession proof was, yeah, that just came out recently. I think I'm gonna try and do more. I think I have a lot more songs in me right now, especially with this election coming up and shit. I get a little bit fucking angry around this time of year. This time of 4 years. And so we'll see what happens. I'm also gonna be, I mean, next week we leave, you know, and we do Riot Fest, and the week after that I got a wedding, and then after that we are going on tour for 2 weeks, and then I'm back for a
Oh,
little less than a month, and blah blah blah. So it's just gonna be a lot. So I don't know if I have any time to write any fucking music, but I'm gonna try. So we'll see.
thank you. So let's talk about the 16th. A sound to deafen the earth.
Yeah.
Was that dramatic enough?
Not nearly, man. Let's try it again. No, it's yeah, I fucking man, this song, I tell you what. It's one song. It's 26 minutes long. I chopped it up because I figured nobody wants to listen to a 26-minute long song. At least very few people do. Not a lot of people have the attention span that I have. I eat that shit up.
I think of
It's
them as different movements.
yeah,
And each part has different movements to it as
and
well.
it does. Yeah. I just wanted to see if I could write a really long fucking song. Again, I tried for 30 minutes. I couldn't get to 30 minutes. I was pretty burnt out. So I was about 4 minutes shy of 30 minutes, but I feel like 26 is still pretty decent. Um yeah, it's another fucking concept album. It's what I do. It's about the eruption of Krakatoa and or Krakatau, depending on who you talk to. In 1883, and Yeah, I mean it's like one of the loudest sounds ever recorded, in modern times. The barographs recorded it going around the earth like 3.5 times the air pressure. And it was heard over 3,000 miles away in like Perth, Australia and shit. Like just absolutely crazy shit. And so yeah, I wrote a song about that. And it's fucking long, man. It's a long fucking song. I wrote it in 2018. I started writing that before I was done writing The White Flag. So I wrote this shit forever ago, and I finished writing it when I had moved to Florida, and then I just sat on it, and I didn't write lyrics for it for fucking ever. I had some lyrics for it, but like half of the song wasn't written. Um, and it took me years to finish it. I fucking didn't sit down and start teaching it to Micah and Elliot until 2021, sometime in 2021, and we started playing it together. We've played it together a bunch of times. We've never played it live, but I do have a band that can play the song. And then we sat down and we recorded the whole thing. And then I sat on that recording for another 3 fucking years. And then over this last year, I finally sat down and started like mixing it seriously. And before we left for tour, I felt like it was getting close. I got back from tour and I was like, you know what? Let's do an entire remix of it. Like this next time I'll fucking remix it right and it'll be fine. And I didn't. I didn't remix it. I went back and listened to it and I just did a couple of small things here and there and everything fell into place. So yeah, and I've been sitting on this track since 2018. I fucking hate this song. I want it gone from my life. So it was like, okay, I'm putting this shit out this week. And Micah and Elliot were like, give us a week at least to like push it a little bit. And I was like, fine. And so, Micah posted it to a bunch of places. Elliot made a little like reveal music video thing for that little 30-second clip thing. And yeah, and so that'll be out on Monday. And I'm so fucking glad to be done with it. Oh my God, I'm so glad to be done with it. And I'll never have to think about this fucking goddamn godforsaken song ever again. Uh,
Even though
absolute night.
even though you have a band that you can play it live now.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know. It's probably not gonna happen. Elliot and I are talking about sitting down and trying to write more stuff, some new stuff. We both really like Crust. Neither of us has like a Crust project, that we can do stuff with. And he's always looking to play drums, and I want to play crustier shit that's not acoustic doom scroll. So we're gonna hopefully try and start writing some shit for it, or maybe I'll just write up some riffs and he can come bring some drums to it. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. The future's chaotic right now. I literally I don't think we're done resting until like halfway through December or some shit this year.
Yeah, I saw a bunch more dates go up. I shared it.
Yeah, yep. And I think we have more. So I think those go through until November. I think December is going to be a little bit slow, and then I think February we're picking back up and doing some more shit. So I don't know. It doesn't fucking stop.
Well, I mean, isn't there another Doom Scroll album in the works?
Yeah, there's some stuff getting written and recorded. Um, I'm not gonna go. I mean, I don't want to. It's literally all Elliot. He writes everything, he records everything, he plays everything.
He said the next
Uh,
album was gonna have you all on it too.
it won't.
That's what he told me. That's what he told me.
No, it won't. He, it's he has a very specific vision, and he needs to do what he needs to do with it. So
He
yeah,
just
I don't
recorded that whole pesky self to himself.
I recorded the drums. I recorded the drums. He did everything else, but I
Well,
did record the drums for it.
well, because he was playing them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So I did do the drums for that, but he did everything else, and it sounds fire. I actually was I have all of the tracks, and I mix them for fun. So I was actually mixing those last night, listening and futzing around with the tracks that he has because I just like the way they sound.
Oh,
They're really fun to mix.
I heard one of the demos and it sounded so badass that like I can't wait for it to finally come out.
It's gonna be a great one. Trying to convince him to play those songs live. I just want to play bass, man. I just need a band where I can fucking play the bass. Like I had it, and Mike has stole it from my grasp at the last fucking second. So I need to fucking play bass and something. So I'm like, Elliot, let me play bass in this fucking band. Like, fuck, man. Like, give me something.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of bass lately.
Yeah, dude, the bass is sick. I don't fucking give a shit about guitar. I honestly like. I listen to a band, I watch a band. Fuck the guitarist, yo. I never look at the guitarist. Bass and drums, like there's no
I've
fucking music without bass and drums. Like I